with Stu Armstrong from EnQii. Full disclosure, EnQii is our primary software provider. You call it software provider?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Okay.
Software and services.
All right. For kid care, pet care, women's health care. I don't know. You guys have a bunch of other stuff too, I know. We're at the DIPA. Digital Place-Based Advertising Association, used to be OVAB. And I grabbed Stu and said, come here, I got to talk to you about something. We're talking about content, Stu. And I know that you've got a whole bunch of different kinds of networks, a bunch of different ad-supported networks, but there's all different kinds of content too. I was talking to Rob Gorey earlier, and he has a similar situation, but he doesn't have to do the technological deployment. I just like that word, eh?
Yeah, I think that's good. I'll take that from you.
You take a lot from me, don't you?
I do.
Stu, when you get into discussions with a new client and they're talking about launching a new network, do you get involved in the discussion of creative or the discussion of content at all, and why? Yeah,
there's a couple of things that we get involved in sort of that. Sometimes it's an educational process about the industry itself and what they need to be doing. First and foremost in content, and some of your other guests have said the same thing, and I think it's spot on, and that is the relevance of the content, the ability for this medium to narrowcast, to pinpoint a message to the right audience at the right time, at the right place, with the right content. That's a very sophisticated thing to do. In your networks that you manage in Care Media Holdings, you're not managing one TV station, you're managing a TV station for every single location. And being able to pinpoint that content down to that individual location at the right time for the right audience.
That sounds like a hard job. I should be getting more money for this. Actually, now I'm getting tired when I hear about it.
But so one of the things that we do when at EnQii, when we're working with our clients, is to educate them on what they need to do to be able to pinpoint that, and then to show them how easy we make that happen within our software. And any of the software, to be scalable, needs to make it easy to pinpoint that message and to do that very sophisticated thing. And that's what delivers relevance, part of the relevance on content.
You got to be able to report that.
Yes.
At the other end of it. I know that we're all the time, the agency specifically, they have to have something to hang their hat on. You know, don't just tell me this is what it's going to look like and this is how good it's going to be. That's over with.
Right.
They want to see real numbers. They want to see what's the word that they use? Arbitron says statistically valid.
Yes.
Everything has to be statistically valid. What can you do to help the networks do that?
So we call that compliance, and there's technical compliance and there's media compliance. The first part is very important, which is technical compliance, and that's saying the network's working, the media player's on, and it's showing up on that screen. Because if you can't show the technical compliance, a couple of things happen. Number one, you won't have the reporting to feed the media compliance, and secondly, those guys that are putting the wrong technology out there have service calls that are going through the roof, and they may not survive financially ever to get to their goal to building their network.
There's the other side of the coin, or what the other side of the sword, or whatever it is. If a network goes out and they get an Arbitron or a Nielsen, and then they have to give them all the addresses, they sit back. The service company, the auditing company goes out there and they do all of their sampling. They come back and say, hey, that was great, everybody's watching. They may come back and say, hey, it sucked, nobody was watching.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, they got nothing to sell. What's their takeaway from that? They got to know, okay, something went wrong. They're not going to blame the screen.
No, so that's the relevance of the content, right? So once I have the content up on the screen, it's producing the content that earns the eyeballs and then earns the minds of those viewers, and to turn what is a glance medium, in some cases, in venues where there's a dwell time, into a trance medium. So you're looking at.
Yeah, I got to use that. Glance medium to trans medium.
Trance.
Yes. Not trans.
No.
That's a different thing altogether.
But then there's the reporting on that compliance, and that's the media compliance, to be able to get the reporting that knows how many of those spots have shown, when did they show, and the proof of play or affidavits that the advertisers need so that those media networks are going to get paid.
So the electronics can do that. Your software can do that. The Arbitron of the Nielsen shows how many people were in there and what the demographic of those people are. The content was engaging enough to compel the viewer to watch it. Then they can test the recall, and that's what we have to sell at the end, or call it customer engagement. There's a customer engagement. What's the show coming up?
It's Customer Engagement Technology World, CETW.
I better remember that because I'm speaking there.
Yes,
right?
you are, and a lot of people looking forward to that, Phil. So that is...
I'm going to cut you off right there.
But CETW is in New York City in a couple of... well, it's November 10th and 11th at the Jacob Javits Show. It's really a must-attend event.
I mentioned that a couple of times, I think, on Cohen on Content. Stu Armstrong, CEO North America, or is President North America.
That's correct.
EnQii, what is it? You know, we should have a contest. Somebody's got to come up with, what does EnQii stand for or mean? EnQii. We got to make a contest out of this.
Yes, I know. I've got a lot of friends and I've got a lot of competitors in the space, and I'll be interested to see what they come up with.
Did you hear him say he has a lot of friends? Hey, Cohen on Content. I'll see you next. No, you'll see me next week. Stu, thanks.
Thank you, Phil.